John, I'd like to have this item marked, with identification.
Identification notice can be marked. I guess that's gonna be D1.
Can we just do 1, 2, 3, 4?
Without the chance.
No, I'm doing the S and Ds.
But,
Someone on that jury about to know him. Yeah, it was one holdout.
Friday.
Everybody else voted to find him guilty.
Approach the witness, John.
It was one holdout.
Fred,
Yes.
I want you to look at this, what's been identified in D1. And, if you would look over it, please, and read it, and tell me, after you read it, let me know that you've read it, okay? It's 2 pages.
Child. If he was on the down low, that's his problem. But thank you for telling the world, because that's what you essentially that's what you're saying. So it is what it is.
You done with this, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. After having reviewed offenses for identification, D1, you recall making those statements to the 2 detectives, I referenced early investigators. You remember making that statement?
A similar statement. I'm not sure if I used those terms that you stated.
And also, can you state whether or not, based on your relationship with Mr. Lee, having knowledge of his activity within the community, whether or not he would hook up with people on a regular basis?
What does a regular basis look like?
Well, regular basis, I mean, you have to contact or hookups, referenced in this with
He is
more than once a week, on a regular basis.
Oh, no, Jay Lee was very protective about that stuff. He only did so with people he had talked to, at least for a little bit.
Okay. And
boom.
in fact, he didn't tell you the names of any of the people that he hooked up with, but
Boom.
provided you nicknames, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And
Your client name was Bookie
as
Bear.
far as the statement that you made to Miss Douglas, Detective Sergeant Douglas and Lieutenant Jones, you did that voluntarily. They just were interviewing you to basically, this was on July the 11th, just brought you in, interviewed, it was voluntary on your part, and you were free and open about your relationship with Jay Lee, your friendship, things of that nature. Fair statement?
Fair.
Can you tell me the names of the social media, either Snapchat or Instagram messages or anything like that? Did you previously testified that y'all just really Snapchatted, right? Mostly. Did you ever do any social media or?
He's
Instagram
trying
with
to
him through
impeach
the
him. He is trying so hard to
Did you
impeach
message
him.
him through the Instagram accounts ever?
Yes. I stated earlier that we contacted each other mostly through iMessage and every once in a while through Instagram and Snapchat.
I thought that's what you said. I want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
What was the name of your account at that time
None of
Which
your
account?
business.
that you used primarily with Jay Lee?
I would use my Instagram account. I'm not too sure what it's actually called, but it's a variation of my name, Jose.
Okay. And look, I'm not trying to take down to remember what you used 2 years ago, but do you recall, if you can recall that account that you used during that
I
time
love
frame
Jose.
that you communicated with Jay Lee?
Sorry.
Yes, I said it was a variation of my name, Jose, so it was spelled HOE.SAY.
Okay. And do you recall the name of the account that you communicated with Mr. Lee?
I know he went through several changes in his username. I want to say it might have been something like IMJ Lee or something of that nature.
Okay. Now, you indicated that that you never had any conversations where Mr. Lee ever had any suicidal thoughts or ideations of suicide. You did have conversations with him through social media or through some of these accounts about Jay Lee's, for lack of a better word, promiscuous conduct in his life, correct?
Can you rephrase that?
You had conversations, did you not, through your Snapchat, Instagram, things of that nature, where you, I'm not getting into the details of it, but you had conversations with Jay Lee about his activities within the community there, as far as hookups, names he wouldn't provide, things that he did, things that he preferred, things like that, right? I mean, you were close friends. You had those conversations, right?
Yes.
Okay. And part of those conversations, as I understand, was that, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong or untoward about it, but some of these conversations involve conduct on Mr. Lee's part where he kind of enjoyed the fact that you see guys out and dressed like a woman and they kind of find out he was a woman like later on, and he kind of enjoyed that, didn't you?
No.
You did not enjoy that?
Like, he would not dress up as a woman to meet these people.
Okay. Well, he
He
dressed
dressed
up in a feminine way. Fair statement, right?
Generally, yes, but not just specifically to hook up, as you say.
But he did dress up during courting, as I understand it. Some of the information that's been provided as a result of search warrants that were done on behalf of the Oxford Police Department, University Police Department, that he would hook up with individuals dressed in the manner that you previously described in your testimony, right? As dressed up, feminine, flamboyant, and in a manner, he dressed up and met people in that fashion, right? When he was dressed up like that, right?
No, sir.
He never did that?
He may have, but that wasn't, he did not dress up just to meet with these people.
Mr. Reyes, I didn't say that. Drew, just to be
No, that's what you're trying to say.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
During the course of quote unquote some of the hookups that you referenced, he would dress in that manner. Fair statement?
Not in
He
the
dressed
way you
that
saying
every,
it.
yes,
Okay.
generally, yes.
Because you're trying to say he dressed like that to meet men. That's not what he's saying. You're not going to trap him up. I love the way that he's not letting him trap him up, you know, with the shenanigans that he uses when
And
he's on the, in Congress.
also, you're familiar with the fact that Jay Lee,
They do a Jose
as far as
was
his
dumb.
routine and habit there in the community, as far as the LGBTQ community, he was one of the individuals that was well recognized in the community in the Oxford area, right?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
And also,
So, boom, that's something else for the prosecution.
you state that he wouldn't go anywhere without the dog, but he didn't take his dog out when he was engaged in hookup with folks in this area. Fair statement?
That's fair.
And also,
He
these
didn't
hookups
say he
that you're
took
making
his
reference
dog
to, a lot
everywhere.
of
Like
times,
this guy, I don't like him.
some of these hookups were people, and let's be honest, that he'd never met before, except through social media, that he would meet through social media, get dressed, or go meet people out in the community late at night, all hours of the day. Fair statement?
I don't believe they were random. I don't believe they were
I'm
like,
not necessarily saying they're random. I'm saying whether or not you meet them through social media or through conversations as a result of his activity in the community. A lot of times we'll go out and meet them in different places in the community, right?
I'm not familiar with where he was meeting them at.
He is trying to paint him as
Well, it'd be a fair
this guy that
statement.
just randomly
Would
slept
not
with
stress
people.
that
It's ridiculous.
Jay Lee likewise
Yeah,
was
exactly.
participating
Rebecca?
in the download aspect of that community. Those individuals you described that they keep it secret, but he was participating in that aspect of the download community. Fair statement?
That's stupid.
No,
That is
You
that.
know that he used nicknames for certain individuals that he hooked up with. One of the nicknames, according to your statement, was medical student, nickname of confusion, and other nicknames that Jay Lee used to associate those names with people that you didn't know. He kept it himself, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it would be a fair statement as what you described as the download community. He was working or he was doing things.
Yeah,
he was keeping
like
secrets.
just let the defense attorney keep talking. Your client, a down low client. I mean, not a client. Your client is on the down low.
Can you
Okay,
rephrase your statement,
He
please?
wasn't telling you everything he was doing in his private life.
Correct.
Child.
He associated names with numbers of people, whether it be Fusion or medical students, and there were other nicknames that he told you about, right? Numerous nicknames of other people, right?
Maybe not numerous. Those are just a few of the ones that I recall.
Okay, those all that you can recall at the time you gave that statement. Is that right?
Yes.
Sorry, y'all, about the rattling. I took myself off the camera, but. He is trying so hard to paint him into being like this promiscuous guy. He's having an anxiety attack. He's on the stand doing like techniques to combat that. You can tell. He's trying to prevent from, But good job, Jose, for representing for your friend, though. They tried it.
When you got back to, when you went by Mr. Reed's apartment, what was it? Did you go inside?
I did not go inside. I did not go inside. The door was locked from the outside.
The door was locked from the outside?
He stayed on campus, so the way the doors work on campus, you have to have key card access. That's the only way you can get into the room.
You know how many times you were interviewed,
Lord.
Mr. Reyes, by
I
members
don't
of
like
the University Police
this man,
Department?
Rebecca.
Oxford Police Department.
No, sir, I cannot recall.
You don't recall any of those conversations?
I recall the conversation.
I'm sorry. If
I don't
you
like
remember how
him.
many times you were interviewed?
No, sir.
Ooh, child.
So, like,
Jose, I want to give you a chance to clear some stuff up I was confused about on cross-examination.
Okay.
So, what was Jay Lee's sexual orientation?
Homosexual.
So he was gay?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe defense counsel was asking about like transsexual, like when you stated Jay Lee's gender, what did Jay Lee identify as?
Male.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Male. So, like I mentioned earlier, cisgender. So he was born male. He was comfortable with his male, like how he was. Yes.
And you believe they said that he would dress as in a feminine way sometimes. That's what was said on Cross. Was that accurate? Sometimes he would dress in a feminine way.
In a fashionable way, yes, ma'am.
Yes. And when he would dress that way, was that his usual thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, like, when you say fashionable, was he wearing dresses every day, pants every day? Like, what? Describe some of that.
I mean, sometimes it might be a pantsuit. Sometimes it might be a dress. It just depended on his mood. Obviously, in college, sometimes we're running late, so sometimes it was sweats in a sweatshirt. But mostly, when he could, he would dress to the fullest.
And just so we can make sure that it's clear, did he dress this way, as far as your knowledge, to attract men?
No, ma'am. He dressed that way for himself. I don't think he ever seeked validation from men. Like I said earlier, very unapologetically.
We talked about participating in the down low culture. Was Jay Lee down low?
No, ma'am. As fashionably as he dressed, no, ma'am.
So it was obvious that he was gay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But when opposing counsel was talking about participating in the down low culture, I think he was referencing Jay didn't out people.
Correct.
Can you kind of explain what that means to out people?
So a lot of times, as I mentioned, sometimes men that are down low, they may not be ready to really reveal their interests, of who they really are. So, and obviously, people come from different households and different settings. So, outing somebody could essentially be telling other people that this person is XYZ without their consent. So a lot of times, we will like protect identities just to be courteous. Some people may not be ready for that, so we'd be mindful and we would not out anybody.
So people who are not ready to come out, why is that?
I mean, that can be a number of reasons. I couldn't just put one thing. Like I mentioned, family, fear of being discriminated, stuff of that nature.
And so these men that are on the down low, they're trying to keep this a secret, correct?
I believe so.
And they don't want to be exposed, correct?
Correct.
Now, Did you know Jaylee's type?
I mean, I believe he would like go towards more masculine energy. I don't think it would ever just be a specific type, but it would be more so just someone more masculine.
So people who are kind of less like him.
Yes, ma'am.
But at the end of the day, he liked men who like men.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-oh. Boom.
On cross-examination, defense counsel asked about hooking up with people. He was talking, hooking up with all these people. And you started saying he didn't just hook up with random people. What's your understanding of the people back in 2022 that Jaylee was hooking up with?
As I mentioned earlier, Jaylee is very protective of himself, so he would make sure that he knew them a little bit to some degree. He would not be the type of person to just get on and see somebody online and message him to hang out.
So he wasn't having random hookups. You also said on cross-examination that he was well recognized in the LGBTQ community. Would that be fair in Oxford?
Yes, ma'am.
So it was well known that he was a man, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it normal if someone is trying to hide their sexuality, to try to protect them?
Yeah, one question. And also, you can go into that.
I didn't understand the question.
I'll rephrase, Your Honor.
Okay, you can rephrase the pre, whichever one you want to do. I didn't get it.
Let me rephrase. In the LGBTQ community, is it normal or abnormal, you tell me, to not expose or out someone who's on the down low?
I mean, it's more sort of like of a courteous type of thing. Obviously, someone wouldn't want to be outed, so why would someone else out somebody else? But yes, ma'am.
You wouldn't want someone to do that to you.
Correct.
I never got any. I don't know. I was very curious.
Let's move on.
Brief indulgence.